Huru, everyone. Welcome to the Reparations in Action podcast and FM radio show. You're listening to WBPU LP in St. Petersburg, and welcome also to our worldwide audience, online and on the Black Power 96 app. My name is Brendan McCoy, and today I am hosting this special episode of Reparations in Action, titled White Solidarity with Black Power Radio. Reparations in Action broadcasts weekly on Black Power 96.3 FM in St. Petersburg, Florida. So Reparations in Action, also known as White Lies Shattered, is a program of white solidarity with Black Power. We believe reparations to African people is the key question of our times and is one that demands action on the part of European or white people. As always, I want to start by saluting our leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and the African People's Socialist Party for leading the African Revolution and developing the theory of African internationalism and the understanding of the colonial mode of production. African internationalism is the theory and worldview of the African working class that guides the struggle for African liberation, and which we credit for all of the understandings and analysis provided on this podcast. So I'd like to salute Black Power 96, WBPU 96.3 FM in St. Petersburg, Florida. So where this show is aired and currently airing and recorded for our podcast. Black Power 96 is not just explaining the world, but changing it. And again, you can get the app for Black Power 96 on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and you can listen wherever you are located. Black Power 96 Radio is a listener-funded community radio station and is currently in the middle of its annual July Fund Drive, in which we are participating in today. And we have a goal to raise $1,000 for this incredible radio station as a stand of reparations. So we're calling on all of our listeners and supporters to contribute to today's goal. We'll talk more about this throughout the program, but please go to blackpower96.org/reparations right now and contribute to today's goal. I'm so excited to introduce this program. We've got some really great guests today, including Sherwin Penny. We have Jamie Simpson and Sandy Forrest, as well as our special guest today, Mr. Eddie Maltzby, station manager of Black Power 96 FM in St. Pete. And right now I am honored to be joined by my co-host today, chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee and author of Overturning the Culture of Violence, Penny Hess. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Brendan. It's really, really wonderful to be here. I always love anything to do with Black Power 96.3. Very, very powerful. And I salute you, Comrade Brendan. And I'm really excited to be here with Jamie, Sandy, and our special guest, the unique, the one and only Mr. Eddie Maltzby, station manager of Black Power 96.3 FM in St. Petersburg, Florida. Of course, we're here in St. Louis, also now the headquarters of the African People's Socialist Party, the New Huru movement.
Yeah.
But whenever I am in St. Pete, I can't tell you how exciting it is to actually turn on your car radio and hear Black Power 96. Really, really dynamic and exciting and beautiful programming. And I want to join in saluting our leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who envisioned, just getting the voice of the African working class out into the world and organizing us as white people under their leadership to fight for reparations in the white community, which is what we do. And I salute Deputy Chair Onisene Yeshitela, who is over the institutions, the more than 50 institutions of the African People's Socialist Party, of which Black Power 96 is a very exciting and dynamic one, and Director Akile Anai, who is over this radio station. And I love and unite with the slogan, I guess the motto of Black Power 96, not just explaining the world, but changing it. And that's what I want to be part of. So what I wanted to do, Brendan, was to show this brief clip of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and to just, he's talking to us in a very short time, but why everybody should support this radio station. So let's play that clip.
The African People's Education and Defense Fund, which is a companion to the Uhuru movement, has just done this extraordinary thing and acquired a license for a low-power FM radio station. And we are very excited about that because it offers all kinds of possibility. Immediately right here in the city of St. Petersburg, where the station will be located, but also for the movement as a whole. Because I see this radio station as being able to develop an incredible base for our movement. It can develop all of these structures that we've already created and make them flourish. It can be something that can contribute to our institutions, our gym, to the Uhuru House itself, to our meetings. We just have so many possibilities with this. We got young people who are out there who don't have any voice at all, and now they can have their own radio station. We're talking about being able for young Africans who out here in the community making their DVDs, their music, their CDs and what have you, now having a place where they can have them played on a regular basis. We're talking about young people who can host radio shows. We're talking about being able to actually change the demographics in this city by making this city a place that is of such cultural and political significance to black people that Africans from around the country would be wanting to come here to participate. It offers us an extraordinary opportunity. It's black radio, and the black people can own and control this radio. It's going to be a radio station that is funded by the community. You don't have to worry about corporations or any other kind of entity that's funding this radio, which means that the character of the radio station will be shaped and determined by the people in the community. We don't have to be afraid that if we say such and such a thing, some white corporation or some white person is going to be able to take away our funding, because the community will fund it, will define what it looks like, how it sounds, who's on it on a regular basis. It just offers us an extraordinary opportunity for black people to be able to communicate with black people on our own terms without any concern about what white people or the white corporations think about it. So we're saying 96.3. That's the radio that we're talking about, Black Power 96.3. That's going to be located right here in St. Petersburg, Florida, and every African everywhere needs to be supporting this. Uhuru.
Uhuru chairman. Really, really appreciate that that call for people to support Black Power 96, and just want to join in and call on people to go ahead and donate to Black. Tell me the link.
blackpower96.org/reparations.
Yes, say it again.
blackpower96.org/reparations.
I really want to welcome Comrade Jamie Simpson, and it's really powerful to have you on, and to just to be with you again in this in this important show that we have today for Black Power 96. So Jamie, I just really salute you. I'm always so happy to see you, comrade.
Uhuru, Jamie.
Welcome.
Uhuru, Chairwoman Penny, Uhuru, Comrade Brendan. It's such an honor and a thrill to be back on Reparations in Action with both of you today.
Absolutely. And yeah. And you've been involved with the podcast with Reparations in Action for many years, so long before I got involved. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved, what drew you to this podcast and Black Power 96?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the question. So I mean, I had been involved with the Uhuru movement and the Uhuru Solidarity movement since 1999. And it was sometime in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, that I was asked to come and join with Chair Jesse Neville in hosting Reparations in Action on a weekly basis. And yeah, I think at that time it was on what was known as Uhuru Radio, right?
That's
Which
right.
was right. That was like the online platform for the African People's Socialist Party, and Solidarity had a show. and we would come up with different topics each week, and it was a lot of fun. And
It
somewhere
was.
around 2016, I
Yeah.
remember, I believe that's when the radio tower was acquired, and the radio signal. And then we began to broadcast Reparations in Action from the Black Power 96 studio. And wow,
Mhm.
that was so exciting. And I was a part of Reparations in Action, hosting and then eventually coordinating the show up through about, I want to say 2022, when I became the Southern Regional Coordinator of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, and that took over most of my time and energies. But in terms of like why I was drawn to Black Power 96, I mean, it's the independent voice of the African working class,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
Reparations in Action in particular gives us an opportunity as white people to talk to other white people about what it means to be white in this world, how we got here. And Reparations in Action, I mean, that kind of says it all, that the reparations is not just a theoretical question, it's something that requires action on our part, and action that has to be accountable to the African working class. And I can't think of a better way to do that than Reparations in Action on Black Power 96, which is such a vibrant and dynamic station, so rooted in the community, such amazing shows, just really inspiring music and analysis, and great people like station manager Mr. Eddie Maltzby. So yeah, that's the in a nutshell what drew me to Black Power 96. It's the independent voice of the African Revolution and the African working class.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, Jamie, thank you so much for that. And as always, it's wonderful to see you, even if only on Zoom. And I know we want to thank some people who have
Yes.
sort of contributed, and we're really getting there, comrades. Very
Yeah.
exciting.
I mean, I'm wondering if we really need to maybe consider increasing our goal, because we
do.
are at $600
All
already
right.
of our $1,000 goal. And yeah, I just want to shout out Lisa from Minneapolis, $125 donation.
Wow,
So,
Lisa.
Lisa. I'll be
Our
doing,
engineer.
yeah, absolutely, like providing just a completely indispensable part of this program, now and really, yeah, for the duration of Reparations in Action. And also John in Redding, California, $50.
John,
Becky,
thank you.
yeah, Rue John. Becky in Minneapolis, $50.
Wow, thank you, Becky.
An anonymous donation of $100 out of Los Angeles. So Uhuru, we love anonymous. So
one of our best.
Yeah, greatest supporter. Jesse from St. Louis. I can only assume that's Chair Jesse listening and putting forward $50, and then Chairwoman Penny $100, and then another one of our incredible guests right now, Sandy out of Olympia, $25. Uhuru, Sandy.
Uhuru.
So welcome to the program.
All right, and just want to say, everybody that's listening, you can go to blackpower96.org/reparations to donate anything. All donations are welcome and accepted. And this goes to keeping the voice of the African working class on the air at Black Power 96 in St. Pete. And we went to, oh yes, Sandy, I'm so excited to see you.
Uhuru, Sandy.
And Jamie, I hope you'll stay.
Oh yeah, I'm staying. Uhuru, Sandy.
Uhuru, Sandy.
Uhuru.
Wow, I'm so.
Are you at the center? I don't even recognize that room.
It's a different look.
We're just changed, but this is the center.
Okay.
This beautiful
center.
The beautiful brick wall backdrop for the podcast today.
Right.
All right. Very urban.
Yes, exactly. Very St. Louis for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Sandy, and Jamie, you're welcome to pipe in to just develop this. And we have Comrade Sandy, and then of course we have our very special guest, Mr. Eddie Maltz be coming on in a few minutes later. So, Sandy, you have played an important role in the development of this radio station. And the mission of Black Power 96 is to defend the human and civil rights of the African community through their educational and cultural programming, to provide professional radio broadcasting training, and to promote economic development and self-reliance for the African community. And, you know, of course, this program is Reparations in Action. It is all about white solidarity with African people. So tell us a little bit about why you see it's important for white people to support Black Power 96.
Yeah, definitely. And I also, I want to echo the salutes of our leadership, Chairman Omali Shatella, Deputy Chair Onizine Shatella, Director Akile Anai, who that leads the party's media, the African People's Socialist Party's media and communications work, and salute the show. And it's wonderful to be on and your leadership, Chairwoman Penny, over all these years. That I've been following you and following the party, and just so profound the achievements that have been made and the course that we're on. So it's an honor to be a part of that. And yeah, I met the Uhuru movement around the early 80s, and around that same time I had started working at KPFA Radio in Berkeley. And that is a Pacifica, one of the five big Pacifica radio network stations. And I have always known and felt and loved media and radio, because and independent community radio, because we're so barraged with either completely banal celebrity gossip or just this colonial ruling class perspective of the world, even when they try to spin it in a sophisticated way and try to sound non-biased. It's completely biased, in all the media that's out there. And people need to understand the world if we are going to be able to change that. And so I was starting to work at KPF. I worked for several years there at KPFA Radio in Berkeley, and they fired me because I kept bringing speeches of the chairman and running it on air. They didn't want to hear it. And some of the same people that were there then are there now, still 40 years later. And even though that is supposed to be, community radio, it's not controlled by the African community, so they can censor and define what the African community is going to say. And then, like 20 years later, had moved to St. Pete when the party's African People's Socialist Party headquarters had moved to St. Pete, and for a while, I was volunteering as a producer for Chairman O'Malley's radio show over at another predominantly white community radio station, WMNF in Tampa. And similarly, they got rid of his show. They canceled his show after they were on the air for almost 8 years, I think. First Connie Burton and then Chairman O'Malley. And eventually they canceled that show. And one of the big complaints, interestingly, or in a very timely point here, is that Chairman O'Malley would have conversations with he had one show that was a conversation with a Palestinian leader straight out of Ramallah, I think it was. But he would have these international conversations, but there was complaints from some of the reactionary funders of WMNF about the chairman's support for Palestine 20 years ago. And so they canceled that show. And very interesting, in both instances, I was fired, which meant that there was an end to the voice of the African working class in the form of the leadership of Chairman Omali Shatella on that very big radio station. That was no more. And then in WMNF, same thing. Right at the time when they, in both instances, were moving from these little shacks that are with just a couple of rooms, it's all run down, and broadcasting on air, to these palatial multi-studio buildings, multi-million-dollar buildings. And, you know, that's the kind of thing that the African working class deserves and must have. That's who built the resources of this wealth. That's what Black Power 96 needs. And so I just feel like it's so critical that we from the white community do contribute in a big, serious way to support this radio station, because it does provide for actual economic development in the African community. We know that many unsigned artists have been able to get their careers started because they got airplay on Black Power 96 that they can't get airplay on any of the colonial media stations. And it connects Africans, giving access to regular African people to the whole world. People in the community can become connected with the whole African diaspora, if you will. And it allows for African working class people to define their own agenda, because it's always being defined for them, but they can tell their stories, they can define their own agenda, it's theirs. And we're in a really exciting period right now where Black Power 96 in some ways is like the flagship of a emergence of a number of news stations and just other African-owned stations around the world that you know, are connecting and sharing programming and developing this relationship to really, you know, Africa's on the ascendancy, and to have a media component, as you said, you can turn it on in your car. You're driving around, flipping through the channel, and there's the voice of the African working class, and completely different from anything else that you would hear. So I just think it's so critical. And just one other thing, people may have read in the news yesterday about how Congress had voted to agree to Donald J. Trump's initiative to withdraw funding
from NPR, from public radio. I was going to ask you about this, and I want to have a whole show and discuss this. Because I just want to, and sorry to interrupt you, but
no, go ahead.
I just did want to discuss that, and I would like to discuss it further. But I think that this is, first of all, why the Chairman Omali Shatella raises the understanding that it's not just about fighting for free speech, it's fighting for anti-colonial free speech, the right, as you know, everything you just laid out about the attacks from WMNF, which was supposed to be the progressive radio station in Tampa, Florida, and they came down on this anti-colonial free speech, the right of African and oppressed people to fight for and express their desire to win their liberation and self-determination. This is where the attack came down. And I think that, you know, right now, the US government is attacking NPR, and may not be an NPR. And of course we know, and that's National Public Radio, we know that the politics of NPR are the politics of the system we live in. I mean, it's not progressive, although at times they have
the liberal sector of the white colonial ruling class.
Yeah, exactly. And at times they have allowed us a little space for this and that, but generally not. But I think that the thing that is exciting is that Black Power 96 does not depend on any funding from the government. So it's not, they can't come in and do that. They can't take our funding away because we don't have their funding. Our funding are completely in the people. And that is very liberating. And it is based on all of you who support and stand for the voice of the African working class to be heard, and white people who stand in solidarity with the African people to be heard as well.
Absolutely. And again, Black Power 96 Radio is 100% funded through these donations from listeners and supportive businesses. You won't hear us shouting out, you know, these big corporations or government entities. You'll hear us shouting out Frank from Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
Yes, thank you,
donating
Frank.
$5 a Huru Frank. You'll hear us shouting out our sustaining members that signed up on Black Power 96 to support monthly, like Sarah in Minneapolis, Jamie, Johan, and Janice in St. Pete. Kitty, Allison, Ruby, Stephanie in St. Louis, Virginia and Indiana, Renee in Philadelphia, Diane in Gainesville, Anne in Ecuador, and Sandy and Janet in Washington, and others. So that's who we're shouting out. We're shouting out the people. And that's what really makes this station so incredible. And, and I urge anybody listening who wants to be a part of that, to go to blackpower96.org/reparations and be a part of that, contribute today and help us get that $1,000 goal and surpass it.
And we're at $605.
Yes.
And we want to again thank everybody who has donated so far, but we've got to get to 1,000.
Let's do it
It's
today.
only $400 more.
Absolutely.
And just to put this in context, the Congress voted to take back $1 billion from Corporation for Public Broadcasting, but they're saying that's really not going to affect the big national PBS or NPR because it's between 1 and 15% of their budget. It's just, that's only a small part of their budget. And,
good point.
And here, Black Power 96 is operating on a shoestring and needs resources. I mean, just the brilliant work of station manager Eddie, the station needs staff, it needs equipment. It should not be that the African working class, is short on resources.
Yes, this is our fight too, and we as white people need to be supporting and providing these resources so that Mr. Eddie and all the incredible people working at that station can keep it going without having to worry about these kind of things. So
well, I think it's about time to be able to welcome Mr. Eddie Maltzby, and I think thank you so much for being on, Sandy. Really appreciate everything that you have done to genuinely take a stand of reparations to the African community and your role in helping to bring about these radio stations in the hands of the African working class. So
it's an honor.
Uhuru, Chairwoman Penny, can I just say something to Comrade Sandy before she goes? I really want to salute you, Sandy, and your leadership all these years in the Uhuru movement. The first time, and just say something about the platform of radio, how significant it is, and how people are listening to this show right now. People listen to the radio, people listen to Black Power 96. I hear it all the time when I'm doing outreach, and I came into contact with this movement for the first time hearing a member of the African People's Socialist Party, and I think of APSC on WMNF. They were guests on a radio show, and they were talking, I think, about protests at Tropicana Field, opposing its role in the gentrification of the African community and police murder. And so I came out and I heard Chairman Omali Yeshitela in person at the Uhuru House because of an event that I heard about on that radio program. And just remembering the presence of the Uhuru movement and Chairman Omali Yeshitela on 88.5 WMNF, how significant that was in my early years in the Uhuru movement. And then, of course, they silenced him in terms of his contribution to that station. And I remember you, Sandy, telling me that it was okay because the chairman was determined to get a radio station for the Black community, to acquire. And I didn't believe you at the time, but you said it with such confidence. And wow, this movement made it happen. And I just really want to salute you and Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the genius of the African working class in making this radio station a reality.
And a salute to you, Jamie, the voice, the radio voice. Get you back on air more.
Hey, it's only because of this movement that we can become things like that, right? Uhuru.
Yeah. And now this station's going on like 8 or 9 years, so almost hitting that 10-year mark. Really incredible. And we're going to make sure that it gets there. But now, I want to thank everybody for the support so far. We're going to keep updating everyone on where we're at with that, with our fundraising goal. But right now,
let's tell people one more time.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So go to blackpower96.org/reparations to contribute today. Support us. Let's get to that $1,000 goal. But now we have joining us a very special guest, Mr. Eddie Maltzby, station manager of Black Power 96. Welcome, Mr. Eddie.
Uhuru, Mr. Eddie.
Uhuru, comrades. First of all, I just want to say to the listeners and to all of you all that are taking part of this, you can see my picture, but you can't see me, and I wish you could, because I am truly, truly just in amazement. I'm crying. There's tears of joy.
Sir.
There's tears of joy that is coming from me because give me a second.
Sure.
Because I'm so.
Take your time, Mr. Eddie.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we have this platform. And just like our slogan says, we're not just explaining the world, but changing it.
Yes.
And I see that and hear that from white people that are willing to give and support Black people as a society, as a whole, as a race, as a being humanized, to change the world. And I hear that when I'm hearing all of you talk and give and support this station. I'm just, it's happiness now. It's not tears of sadness. It's tears of joy. It's tears that I'm here at this station, and I've been a part of this community for decades and decades, and singing downtown, and just to be here in this beautiful studio, to be here where the community is supporting twice a year, solely 100%. We cannot do this without the businesses, without the community, without Black people, and again, to have the support of white people coming together to realize the importance of African people in their lives. I just wanted to start off by saying that I salute not only the chairman, but all of you all that are here today. Uhuru.
Uhuru, Eddie, Mr. Eddie, that was very moving, and just really have the deepest appreciation and respect, and just your radio shows, your presence, it's just unique. Yes, there's nobody like you, and you're so deeply rooted within the community, and just always interacting with them. Very, very beautiful, very powerful. So just really want to salute everything that you bring to this radio station as the station manager and a broadcaster.
Yeah, Mr. Eddie, like say it's your leadership and your organizational, skills and talent that that give us something, to support. So none of this could be done without, incredible leadership, like, that's coming from yourself and, other members of the party. Uhuru.
And Jamie and I are going to interview you and ask you a few questions. And and I just do want to say really quickly, though, that the whole idea that white people can stand in solidarity with African people is something that we never knew was possible, but Chairman Omali Shatella made it possible by forming the African People Solidarity Committee and the Uhuru Solidarity Movement that gave us an opportunity to, first of all, as the chairman says, see the world as it truly is, not as the narrative of white people or white media and all of that, lay it out.
Absolutely.
But to look at the fact that this system is built on slavery and genocide, and that the struggle of African people to be free means a world without oppression, without anybody getting something at the expense of anybody else. So I just really, again, want to salute this movement and you, Mr. Addy. And we have a few questions.
Yes.
Jamie is gonna.
You want me to start off?
Yes, could you,
Great.
Conrad? Yeah.
Yes. First of all, I just want to join Penny and Brendan in just saluting you and your leadership, Mr. Eddie. Yeah, you're just such a
Thank you.
remarkable force in this movement and in this
Thank you.
community,
Yes.
and beloved, and I hear that in my organizing. People recognize you
Mhm.
as the voice of Black Power 96, and the
Thank you.
humor and love that you bring to this station. So just really
Thank you.
appreciate you, comrade.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
yeah. So, Mr. Eddie, as the station manager of Black Power 96 Radio, and you're the host of three different shows: Good Morning Gospel, Midday Cafe, and the
Hmm.
Friday Black Power Local Artists Hour. Could you talk to us about that and what Black Power 96 Radio means to the African community?
Uh, well, yes, Jamie, thank you for the question. And it means a lot to the community. You said three different shows. Well, we start off in the morning with the Good Morning Gospel because African people are very much religious type people. Growing up in Africa many, many years ago, sounding the trumpet to win the move in time of slavery, they would sing spiritual songs. And that would, if it's 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, if you hear someone singing a spiritual song, then that would mean it's time to make a move. It's time to go. It's the trumpet sound, the spiritual. So we start off in the mornings with the gospel because we love the Lord, and you was raised that way, and people just love to be inspired in any kind of way, to be inspired. If it's a religious way, if that inspires you, great. But to be inspired, Good Morning Gospel, people are in hospitals, they're in nursing homes, they're in jail cells, they're in prisons because of this system. And it was a brother one morning listening to me on the gospel. He's in jail, in prison, but he's listening on his prison radio, and I'm raising funds, and he called from jail and said that he wants to donate $100. This is a brother that's incarcerated doing time. How moving is that? And
Yes.
and so these are the type of things that you can't put a price on. You really can't. One day I'm raising funds in the midday, I believe it was, and I get a knock on the door because I tell people to knock, bang bang. And if you're listening now, I'm asking you to drive here to the station. I am here, 1245 18th Avenue South in St. Pete. I want to hear the door go bang bang, knock knock, because that lets me know that you're here to donate. And it's a brother banged and knocked on the door, and I went to the door, and I opened the door, and he says, "Hi, I listen to you all the time, and I want to give you a donation." And so I had my hand out, and he says, "Here's $2." And he gave me the $2, and when he gave it to me, my mind went, $2, wow. But he had a buggy. I can't see, 100% blind, but I heard him pull his buggy away, and he said, "Have a nice day. I listen to you on my radio. I'm homeless, but that's what I could do for you." Everything he owned was in
Wow.
that buggy, but he
Yeah.
gave $2 to this radio station. That's
Wow.
the kind of movement that's going on in our community. And with the local artist hour, again, the chairman said it in the earlier piece, it's a voice for African people, and it's encouragement again, because we have so many people that want to get out of the so-called oppression and the so-called ghetto and the so-called meaningless life that we're living in these times of colonialism. That it's hard when a mother is trying to take care of 2 or 3 kids, and the husband is locked up in prison, and there's no adequate food, there's no adequate even heat and air conditioner for these children. And so some of these people are in jail, and they're out here in the streets, and they're writing songs, but they have no one to play them. They're writing music, and nobody's hearing it. It's a self get away from their own oppression.
Mm-hmm.
But now they have a radio station that they can come on, sit down to the table, and say, "I wrote this song, and I got it. I play it. Can I play it? It's on my phone." And they get an opportunity to do that. And what another amazing way to combat and fight this oppressed system and world that we live in. This radio station does that for a lot of people.
Wow.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Yeah, it's truly community radio here, Black Power 96. And just really appreciate that response, Mr. Eddie. And your role as an advocate for the people, for your listeners who have just come to depend on you and expect your voice to be there.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
I think that, it just segues into a question that we wanted to ask you, because you play a lot of music, however people submit it, music that people create from the community that's not played on any other radio station. And it really gives so many young African artists a way to, to move forward in their art, in their, in their profession, to get heard and to be able to do this. And that is unique. And could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, that program that I started as being an artist myself. I sung downtown here in St. Pete, and that's why a lot of people already sort of know me. I sung downtown in front of a store called McCory's for 35 years. Well, actually 20 years until the store closed in 1999. I started in 83, and in 99 it closed. And then after that, I moved down to Janice Landon Live, and I played there until about 2017 when the station here opened. And I came here and wanted to be, on the radio. So I went from the streets to the studio. But as being someone that wanted their music played, this is why I can relate to all the local artists. I took $1,000 and made at my time, in my years, in 1983, they didn't have CDs. It was still vinyl. And I went and made a 45 in Tennessee, in Nashville, Tennessee, and $1,000 it took me. And I took it to the local radio station, and it might have got 1, 2, 3 spins, and they won't play it. Still, that's happening today because commercial stations don't want to take out time to play a local artist because it's taking up their status of being paid by a commercial entity such as, I don't want to even say the other colonial states that, cigarettes, whatever, just not to give a brand, or beer or whatever they want to advertise. They don't want to play local artists because this takes up their time. And they don't want to ruin that time with nonsense from the community, which they would call nonsense. But this is station, Black Power, is opening up that avenue. And I can't tell you how many people have actually sent music in. I'm talking about San Diego, California, to Africa. I've got West Africa, people sending in from all over, just tons and tons.
Wow.
Again, this is a getaway. This is an escape for people. You can't imagine how people are oppressed in the African community. Right now, rent is just at an all-time premium high because of gentrification. You can't afford to live in St. Petersburg, Florida. And black people are moving out because they have no choice. They're being forced out. But someone can pick up a pen and paper and write a song to help them get past a day. You just don't know how many people are hurting in the African community that needs an outlet. And this station provides an outlet, even if it's just temporary. They need it. We need it.
Wow, that is very powerful, very moving, Mr. Eddie. Thank you so much for talking about that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I know we're getting kind of close to our time, but I do want to ask, so I understand that Black Power 96 is playing a role in helping to build a new Black Power radio station here where I'm located in St. Louis. Does this mean, we're seeing the emergence of a Black Power radio network with African community stations able to share content and expertise? Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, we're happy to, be a part of helping with this network, with Pacifica, with San Diego, out there in San Diego, another radio station, and now in St. Louis, Missouri, 94.1. Black Power is coming there in St. Louis, have already received the license, and we're ready to move forward. But the importance of that is getting the message out.
Yes.
The message out that you guys are putting out right now, the message that the oppressed and the colonizer exists. It exists, and we know this for a fact. If we look over what Donald Trump is doing, our government here in Florida, they're taking away not only public access, but also access to libraries that can tell the truth, that you can go in and so we need radio stations to keep the legacy alive of the ancestors of Martin Luther King and Emmylou Hayden and Newton and all of these, Malcolm X. No other station is playing that. Sandy alluded to it earlier with WMNF. If you go talking about something that's meaningful and the truth about what's going on in our city, in our world, then they want to oppress that, because if it doesn't benefit the United States, then it's hurting them. If you're telling the truth, slavery needs to be talked about and heard about. Oppression needs to be talked about and heard about. And not only talked about it, but done something about it. It's not enough to talk about it. You have to take action, and I love reparations in action, because Jamie alluded to that. It takes action. You just can't talk about reparations. You have to do it. It has to be done.
Yes.
And that's the importance of having a radio station and a network and a station coming to St. Louis, a part of the working class. Again, 100% funded by people. By people. It doesn't have what the hell we're talking about? White people, black people, or brown. We're talking about people.
Yeah.
People, human beings that are supporting what they should be supporting all the time, and that's the release of a colonial system, the tore down a system that needs to be torn down and reestablished with the African people, and not only African, but the working class.
Yes.
The working class people. You know, the people who truly run this colonial system, America. It's not the government. They are using us as pawns and tools in their ruling class, using us.
True.
You. And again, I want to tell people to stop by today. I'm going to be here in the station, clock in at 6 a.m. I will clock out at 6 p.m. Stop by 1245 18th Avenue South. This is live right now, so I need to hear the door go bang, bang, knock, knock. And don't forget, I don't see nothing, but I hear everything, and I would love to hear the bell go ding, ding on the Cash App. It's easy.
All right.
It's quick. It's quick. Cash App, $, Black Power 96. It's quick.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Conrad.
Thank you for that pitch.
You can also go to blackpower96.org/reparations. And Mr. Eddie, if you are still there, do you have any announcements or events coming up that you want the listeners to know about?
Well, we've been announcing it, and I'm sure it's going to be a great turnout, but I need all the support. The support now for the station has been coming in a little slow this time, but we need your support tomorrow at 4 o'clock. The doors will open at 5 p.m. The program will start. It's a big gospel program, and I'm calling on all of the community to come bring a big donation at the House of God Church, 1900 Fairfield Avenue South, here in St. Pete, where the pastor is Pastor Georgia Lemon. At 4 o'clock, the doors will open. Bring a big donation, because we are not where we need to be, but we're not where we were. Thank you.
Wow, hooroo. That is very exciting.
Or can I just say, for people
Yes.
who don't know, I mean,
Yeah, go ahead, Sandy.
Mr. Eddie, I mean, just incredible salute to Mr. Eddie. What an absolute genius. Mr. Eddie is blind. He's operating the mixing board. He's training other people to operate the mixing board. If something else is going wrong, you know, he is participating in the troubleshooting, because he knows the ins and outs of the technology of the station. And, you know, and then, as was said, you know, coming being so representative of the brilliance of the African working class and bringing the African community together. I mean, if you listen to his programming, he's constantly shouting out all the different people. People are calling in when stuff happened at the Uhuru has happened at the Uhuru House in the past from the government. People hear about it through the radio and they call Mr. Eddie, do we need to come down? So it's just such a powerful thing. And, honestly, I just, the Black Power 96 radio deserves more. It deserves more
It
support.
does. It does. And I thank you, Sandy, for that. And just really want to unite with what you're saying about the significance of Mr. Eddie Maltby, the station manager of Black Power 96, and and also this struggle for Black power, not against racism, not against ideas, but for political and economic power in the hands of the African working class. That's what this represents, and that's what the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela is about. Ending the system, as Mr. Eddie said, the system of colonialism, the system of violence and poverty and oppression on every level. And that as the white community, again, we are about reparations. We are about saying that we have the ability to make our self-criticism to African people and to be able to fight for a world under the leadership of the African working class and oppressed and colonized peoples around the world, in which no one lives at the expense of anybody else. So this is very, very exciting. And Brendan, do you want to give us?
Yes, agree. So
I wanted to ask Jamie if you wanted to say.
Yes,
absolutely. Any words, comrade?
Yeah, Uhuru, I'm really moved, by this program and all of you, and of course, station manager Eddie Maltby. And something that Mr. Eddie was saying really struck me, which is this question of African people as an oppressed people, right? And it can sound like something obvious to us as part of the Uhuru movement, but I know that me as a white person, when I came into this movement, I understood that African people faced police brutality and disadvantages, but I was not yet won to the understanding of the reality of that African people are oppressed, are an oppressed and colonized people, exactly the same as somebody in Palestine or in anywhere else in this world. African people face colonial oppression. And I think that's something that it's so important to get that out here on this radio station, and to tie it to things like Mr. Eddie was like gentrification, like the fact that the Black community in St. Petersburg is being forced out. Every year we're seeing African people make up a smaller and smaller percentage of the city, and the housing crisis that disproportionately affects African people. People cannot live in this city, and that is a symptom of oppression. And if we're experiencing some amount of that as white people, it just makes sense that we would unite under the leadership of the African working class, that this can be our fight back, that reparations can be our fight back against this system that so many of us despise. And I just really want to thank Black Power 96 for giving us a platform as white people, to engage in real class struggle through reparations.
Yes. And you can go to blackpower96.org/reparations. And we are pretty much out of time. Before we are done, let me get a couple announcements out. Like Mr. Eddie said, tomorrow, July 19th at 5 p.m. Eastern, there will be a gospel benefit concert at House of God, 1900 Fairfield Avenue in St. Pete. Monday, July 21st at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. Be sure to tune in for the Season 2 premiere, the One Africa Worldview podcast on the Burning Spear TV YouTube channel. So it'll feature an interview with Black Power 96 Radio's promotions director, Dr. Mariah Bonds, about the music and political controversies surrounding the Essence Festival of Culture, as well as so much more stuff. Be sure to tune in. And then Wednesday, July 30th at 6:30 p.m. Central, APSC will be having its monthly event, a study of Che Guevara and the Cuban Revolution and Black Liberation. You can go to apscahuru.org/register. And I would just like to thank everyone who contributed today. I want to thank all of our participants today, Chairwoman Penny Hess, Jamie Simpson, Sandy Forrest, and of course, Mr. Eddie Maltzby for joining us. So we are out of time, but everyone can still go to blackpower96.org/reparations and contribute all month long. So let's make sure this station hits its $10,000 goal for the month of July. So thank you all. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you,
Brenda.
Winning.
Relentless.
Relentless.
Vanguard up.
Thank you, Mr. Eddie.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.